Namaskar and welcome. Well, the Amazon is burning. Massive fires continue to burn unabated in the Amazon rainforests. Amid this, leaders of different countries have different ways of tackling the menace. And while the Bolivian president, Evo Morales, a liar to terming the aid offered by the G7 countries as tiny countries to attend a presidential meeting which will be on September 6 on the wildfires and to forge a pact to protect the world's largest tropical forest. And according to the weathermen, some respite may come in the form of rain. This will be on September 10. However, a weak rainfall is unlikely to extinguish a record number of fires raging in Brazil's Amazon anytime soon. The blazes had destroyed 1.2 million hectares, or more than 4,000 square miles of forest and grassland since May. The blazes have nearly doubled this year compared with the same period of 2018, prompting, in fact, global outrage. Now, at a recent summit, which is the G7 summit in Biarritz in France, leaders there showed some commitment towards environmental concerns. Representatives of the UK, Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan and the United States decided to fund an emergency donation of $22 million to fight the fires in the Amazon. The decision was announced by the host, the French President Emmanuel Macron.
We will straightaway offer Amazonian countries that signal to us their needs financial support of at least up to 20 million euros. We must respond to the call of the forest, which is burning today in the Amazon.
The announcement from the G7 countries came as a big relief to the Amazonian countries fighting the raging wildfires, which has already engulfed hectares of Amazon rainforest and threatening a major environmental crisis. French President Emmanuel Macron also said that France would also offer military support in the region within the next few hours. Nearly $20 million have also been pledged by Britain and Canada. Canada has also announced deployment of water bombers in the forest.
For the future of the planet, in particular a joint plan to help our friends in Brazil and elsewhere to tackle the fires in the Amazon rainforest. One thing I might mention, we've also extended, given another £7 million to our overseas territories to allow them to extend the marine protected areas, those areas which are going to be protected.
Alongside other G7 countries, Canada is stepping up to fight the fires in the Amazon. Canada is offering to help by sending water bombers, as well as a financial contribution of $15 million.
The decision was hailed by Brazil's Environmental Minister Ricardo Salles. The Amazon wildfires engulfing the rainforest since a long time have shown an increase of 85% this year. The fires have been sporadic and are causing serious loss to flora and fauna. The world powers coming together to protect the vast Amazon rainforests, known as lungs of the planet, from being engulfed by raging fires, have raised hopes for conservationists. Bureau Report, DD News.
Well, so why is this such a big deal? The Amazon is really considered by many people as the lungs of the earth. And over the last few years, there has been a concern because let's understand, put it into context, all about the Amazon fire. The Amazon rainforests are the largest of its kind in the world. They are ablaze with over 9,500 distinct fires. And overall, we've seen that Brazil has seen more than 76,000 fires ravage the Amazon in 2019, of which around 10,000 have been started in the past few weeks itself. And the annual exercise of planned deforestation appears to have crossed a tipping point this year. Brazil's National Institute for Space Research says that at least 80% of the increase in the number of recorded fires is compared to the same period of 2018. And the number and intensity of the fires are also closely linked to the rate of deforestation. So this is scientific. This is the scientific explanation for the fires. The flames are not confined just to Brazil, because obviously the Amazon is much bigger than just Brazil. 60% of the Amazon is in Brazil, but several other countries, including in neighboring Bolivia, the deadly blazes are devastating forests and farmlands, so much so that its president has put his re-election campaign on hold. So what's causing these fires? The Amazon Environmental Research Institute says that the recent increase in the number of fires in the Amazon is directly related to deliberate deforestation. This has been happening from the 70s onwards. There's been clearing of land. The National Institute for Space Research, which tracks the suspected deforestation in real time using satellite data, sending out alerts to flag areas. Now, over in Brazilian Amazon, Romeiro saw a 141% increase, which an acre of 138%. Another area called Rondônia, 115%, and Amazonas, 81%. These are areas within the Amazon that are seen. And in a release on August of 22nd, Greenpeace has said that forest fires and climate change operate in a vicious circle. As the number of fires increase, greenhouse gas emissions. Now, according to Copernicus Atmosphere Monitoring Service. So this data has been of India in a sense. You know, more than that, the total number of fires between 1st January and 21st of August, percentage of change, we can see Brazil 75,300, up 85%. Venezuela 26,500, up 19%. Bolivia 17,200, up 114%. Colombia 14,200, that's less, come down by 13%. Peru 5,680, up 104%. Guyana 890, up 145%. Ecuador has come down 290. Suriname 160, up 128%, and French Guiana 11, up 120%. So all these are the rainforest areas, and we can see that the forest fires are definitely increasing, causing significant concern for the rest of the world. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll put all this into context with a guest in the studio.
जल है तो कल है। स्वच्छ भारत अभियान का संकल्प, संरक्षित हो जल, हर घर पहुंचे नल।
जल संकट को हमने गंभीरता से लेना हो, पानी बचाना है, हर घर को जल, इस मंत्र को लेकर के आगे बढ़ना है।
जल शक्ति समाचार सोमवार से शुक्रवार शाम 6:50 पर सिर्फ डीडी न्यूज पर।
Welcome back, and to put all this into context, we have with us in the studio Hem Pandey, a former civil servant who held several important positions in the Ministries of Consumer Affairs, Ecology and Environment, Mines and Minerals. Thank you very much, sir, for being with us. The right person to be talking about this, because the big issue here is that, you know, Brazilians, the government feels that it needs to develop sustainable development. There's mining, there are so many activities that can be taking place there, and deforestation probably is necessary for that, but the outcome is a little heavy, isn't it?
Well, yes, you know, sustainable development itself has become a misnomer.
Okay.
You know, because, you know, I mean, for us in India, sustainable development is balance the ecology, economics and the sociology, you know, and same is the case with Brazil. Unfortunately, you know, the ecology part we become aware only when it's on our doorsteps, when the fires are burning.
Yes.
That is not the time when we,
Ecological security, it's all about the biodiversity. Now this is one of the richest biodiversity zones in the world, the Amazon forests, and well, I mean, if they go at the speed at which they are going, it's a devastation for the entire world. That's why the whole world community is a bit concerned. Now, I mean, is there too much pressure on Brazil, which has about 60% of the forests, and the other countries surrounding it, which are all the Amazon spreads into these countries? Is there too much pressure on them?
Yes, in fact, Amazon itself, I mean, not only Brazil, but adjoining countries as well.
Yes.
Almost 1/4 of the world's oxygen comes from there. They are lungs of world, and in fact, they are like-minded mega biodiverse countries. Which include Brazil and India as well. So we have been making a lot of efforts in Convention on Biological Diversity, that whatever we have, whatever, because we house large amount of biological diversity, these mega biodiverse countries, including countries in the Amazon, and that's where the global Convention on Biological Diversity is making all-out efforts that we raise funds for protecting these areas, because there's a cost of holding on to these areas.
Yes.
Now, if these areas get burnt like this, and I must tell you, all this is anthropogenic. This is because of the humans. The fires are caused both by natural regions and by humans. So one species on the earth, we Homo sapiens, have really not cared for other species. The interconnectedness among the species, the variety of life on the earth, and particularly Amazon.
So you can just speak about one type of Homo sapiens, because there are a lot of the indigenous communities who live in the Amazon, who are protecting the forests with their lives.
Yes.
There are about 900,000 of them, a small number compared to the size of the forest, but they are willing now to go the whole way and say that there should be no mining in this area. These are places that should be preserved. Now, I mean, should one put their money behind these people? For instance?
We must salute these indigenous local people who have their own ways. As I said, fires are natural as well.
Right.
And they know how to contain those.
Right.
But if those fires are man-made, these people are at loss. Unfortunately, the population across the globe, we are 7 billion people on earth.
That's right.
This is putting a lot of pressure on all kind of resources, the variety of life. There's a tendency to have monoculture, one single species.
Absolutely.
It's not going to help you. The variety of life, variety of vegetation, and Amazon forest, the tropical rainforest, are humid, rich rainfall areas, yet having fires, having dry zones, because we are opening these forests.
This is the real big concern that you've raised, because these are the rainforests, and they are actually lacking in rain, and that is why that's leading to the forest fires. In fact, the concerns about this is an area which gets rain on a daily basis.
Yes,
but it's not happening. Because
they are moist, they are humid. Rich in biodiversity, and they convert the photosynthesis. Carbon sinks, convert carbon dioxide, give us oxygen. Amazing forests. But if we don't care, if we try to dig out these areas, then I think it's going to be difficult. So I think the global community must learn from this, that we save these areas. We do there should be zero tolerance so far as these areas are concerned. Let's damage other damaged areas, but not the rainforest.
Okay, fair enough. But Brazil feels that perhaps one is encroaching on their sovereignty when this, because what happened at the G7 recently, $22 million was put aside, and Brazil now says that's a tiny amount. France is trying to treat them like a colony. They are concerned that the rest of the world is telling them what to do, when actually they have protected these forests from the beginning of time right up to now. and they don't believe that the rate of deforestation is that fast. Though, of course, the rest of the world believes it. It's actually the forest fires that are causing much of the deforestation. But, you know, the rate at which trees are being cut to create space for development, they believe is under control.
See, you know, the Convention on Biological Diversity, which was again signed in Rio in Brazil in 1992.
Absolutely.
You know, it has given, after the Convention of Biological Diversity came into being, the responsibility of protecting biodiversity within one's geographical area came to the respective nations. So Brazil has to ensure that they protect the biodiversity of their part of the Amazon, come what may. I mean, these are the areas which are providing global good, global benefits, but these are locals. And so far as international community is concerned, that community through Convention on Biological Diversity can help Brazil in handling, if they don't lose, if they don't burn these areas, they have to be, the cost of holding on to that area must be bet by global community, those of us who are getting. Same is the case with India. We also are demanding the same thing. We are holding on to 8% of world's biodiversity. Brazil has around 10% plus. They are the richest in biodiversity. If these countries, if we are holding on to the biodiversity, the global community through Convention on Biological Diversity must ensure that the opportunity cost is met by global community. Otherwise, these threats of mining, logging.
Absolutely. So the opportunity cost has to be met by the international community, but what kind of effort will this require? Because if G7 puts around put 22 million aside, is that's not enough to put these fires out? They're calling it a tiny amount. And there's also got to be science involved in trying to put the fires out, because the fires are just, they're feeding off each other and they're going to continue until the rains come and put them out. That itself is a big concern, isn't it? How do we put these fires out? I don't think there's not enough technology to do that right now.
No, but maybe we will be able to do it at a cost. But there has to be a sustained way of avoiding these fires.
Absolutely.
And the nature has taught us how to avoid these fires. Don't go there. Don't touch. Develop areas for tourism without digging the place. Without opening the forest, without damaging the species, the variety of life out there. About 10% of the world's species are there in Amazon. Like we have 8% of the world's species in India, the non-species, So we are holding on to all these at a cost. We are not, so one must, between ecology and economics, I think here in these areas, ecology should be the prime target, prime priority, and sociology, because the local people, they have to be, ensure that their quality of life doesn't get further damaged, and the quality of life of them, their life improves. At the same time, the ecology must be the first priority in these areas which are rich in biodiversity.
So, how long does it take to for them to regrow, in a sense, the tropical rainforests? The tropics are all around the entire earth, but why are they so concentrated in the Amazon area? Shouldn't they be, also in other parts of the world, in Africa, even India? India crosses the tropics.
See, so, this is one of the largest biome. Biome is the largest land ecosystem. Tropical rainforest. Starting from South America to middle of Africa to India, in almost Indian Peninsula, we are in tropical areas, rich in biodiversity. We itself in India we have 4 global biodiversity hotspots. All this has to be, there has to be zero zero. I mean, in India we have done Western Ghats we have protected,
Yes.
eco-sensitive zone we have declared.
Yes.
Another 40,000 kilometers we have almost these areas where everything is regulated. Unless you allow a particular activity, it's not on. Similarly, in Amazon, I think there should be zero tolerance for any other biotic interference.
Fair enough.
Zero
So,
tolerance.
so at the end of the day, you say that policy initiatives should be brought in from the international community, and these should be adhered to by all countries in the tropical areas which have these particular hotspots, these zones, and that's the best way to control forest fires.
Yes, Mark. I think Convention on Biological Diversity is one convention of which all of us are parties.
Right.
I mean, this must be supported. Only
Yes.
US is missing there. I think US should come forward, not by a knee-jerk support at the time of fire, but all countries should join hands to save these forests. And there should be a zero tolerance for any kind of disturbance out there.
And with that, we conclude. Thanks very much, Mr. Hem Pandey, for being with us. Zero tolerance is the only way that such biodiversity can be protected. Zero tolerance for its for degradation of these very, very sensitive biodiversity zones, which really need to be protected for the planet itself. Otherwise, we are quickly down the road to destruction. Thanks very much for being with us. Namaskar.